Last night you dreamed. You probably forgot most of it by breakfast. But 5,000 years ago, someone in Thebes woke from the exact same dream and did something you would never think to do. They walked to a temple. They paid a priest. They believed their entire future had just been decided while they slept. That sounds strange to you. But the real answer is far stranger than a superstition. It reveals something about your brain that is still true tonight. You think of dreams as noise, random firing, leftover static from a busy day. The ancient Egyptians thought the opposite. To them, sleep was not an absence of the world. It was a doorway into it. Your mind, they believed, did not shut down at night. It traveled. The Egyptian word for dream was rswt. It shares its root with the word for waking up. Not falling asleep, waking up. Because to the Egyptians, dreaming was not the opposite of being awake. It was a different kind of awake. A truer one in some ways. When you closed your eyes, they believed you crossed into the Duat, the same shadowed realm the dead traveled through. Gods lived there. Ancestors lived there. And for a few hours each night, so did you. Here's where it gets strange. The Egyptians did not think everyone could dream well. Priests called masters of secret things trained for years to interpret dreams professionally, using texts we still have today. One of them survives almost completely intact. It is called the Chester Beatty Papyrus, and it is over 3,000 years old. Inside it, dreams are sorted like a code. A tall man in your dream meant good fortune. Losing your teeth meant something terrible was coming for your family. Drinking warm beer meant suffering. Drinking wine meant prosperity. It reads like a dictionary because in a sense it was one. But here is the twist you were not expecting. Some Egyptians did not wait for a dream to arrive on its own. They went looking for one. At certain temples, especially the one dedicated to the god Bez, protector of sleep and childbirth, people would deliberately lie down to sleep inside the sacred space. This was called incubation. You would fast. You would pray. You would ask a god a direct question, and then you would sleep inside the temple, hoping the answer would arrive as a dream, delivered by the god himself while you lay unconscious on stone. Doesn't that sound familiar? A person unable to solve a problem while awake, deliberately trying to dream their way to an answer. Egyptologist Kasia Szpakowska, who has spent much of her career studying these ancient dream records, has argued that dreams in Egypt were never treated as private. They were treated as public information, almost like weather. A bad dream was not just your bad night. It was a warning that belonged to your household, sometimes to your whole community. If a farmer dreamed of a flood, the entire village might change its plans. The line between one person's sleeping mind and everyone else's waking decisions was almost non-existent. Now here is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Modern sleep science has not fully dismissed the ancient instinct. It has just renamed it. Neuroscientist J. Allen Hobson spent decades studying what actually happens in a dreaming brain. And he found that during REM sleep, the brainstem fires chaotic electrical signals upward into the cortex, the same region responsible for meaning, memory, and emotion. Your cortex receiving this noise does not shrug and ignore it. It builds a story. It stitches the chaos into scenes, faces, fears, familiar rooms. Hobson called this activation synthesis. In plain English, your brain is handed static and it refuses to leave it as static. It writes fiction out of it every single night, whether you ask it to or not. Sleep researcher Rosalind Cartwright took that one step further. Her studies suggested dreams are not random at all, but are often your mind's attempt to process unresolved emotional material from your waking life, replaying it in symbolic form until something settles. A divorce shows up as a lost house. A fear of failure shows up as an exam you never studied for. It is not so different from an Egyptian farmer dreaming of a flood the night before a difficult harvest decision. So maybe the priests at the Temple of Bez were not entirely wrong. They just used the wrong vocabulary. They called it a god. Modern science calls it your cortex synthesizing anxiety into a narrative you can actually look at. Different words. Startlingly similar behavior. A mind unable to resolve something while conscious, handing the problem to itself while unconscious and asking for a metaphor back. Think about what you do differently. You do not walk into a temple and lie on stone before a big decision, but you have probably heard the advice to sleep on it. You have felt a problem feel lighter or suddenly obvious after a full night's rest. You did not pray to Bess. But your brain did something remarkably similar to what an Egyptian priest would have recognized instantly. It kept working on the question after you stopped being awake enough to interfere with it. Here is what should stay with you. The Egyptians were not primitive for believing dreams meant something. They were observant. They noticed correctly that the sleeping mind processes fear, warning, and desire in ways the waking mind cannot always access directly. Their mistake was not in taking dreams seriously. It was only in believing a god had to be involved for that processing to matter. You still cross into that same shadowed territory every single night. Your cortex still stitches chaos into meaning while you are unconscious to stop it. You just call it something else now. Not the duat, not a message from Bess, just REM sleep, just cognitive processing, just your brain being your brain. But tonight when you dream, and you wake up remembering some strange fragment of it, some flooded street, some lost tooth, some person you have not thought about in years, pause for a second before you dismiss it as static. An ancient Egyptian would not have. They would have asked what it was trying to tell them. And so far science has not proven them completely wrong. You dreamed last night. You forgot most of it by breakfast, but somewhere in Thebes 5,000 years ago someone did not.